Hey guys, what's up? Back with another video. Today we're going to do a review of the Elimination Chamber from 2013 for the month of February. So let's get this underway, shall we? No time like the present. We kick off the Elimination Chamber with Alberto Del Rio defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the #1 contender and the former World Heavyweight Champion, The Big Show. This time it's a singles match. This is a rematch from the Royal Rumble where they had a last man standing match. This time it's an average, singles match. Pretty good stuff, pretty good opener right here. The only thing I had a problem with was the fact that they kept bringing up the fact that Alberto Del Rio has never pinned The Big Show, and that was the whole point of the story, was like, oh, Del Rio has never pinned The Big Show to win the World Championship. It was in a last man standing match. And of course here, he doesn't pin The Big Show, he submits The Big Show, but they never brought it up after that. You know, it was all through the match they were saying like, oh, he's never pinned The Big Show, and then at the end he submits him, and they don't say anything. They just talk about what an amazing achievement it is that he submitted the Giants. So pretty decent match. I just wish they would have taken that small piece of commentary out of the story, and I think everything would have been fine. Good opener. Del Rio retains. We move on to the next matchup, which is Antonio Cesaro defending the United States Championship against The Miz. Pretty average match here from Cesaro and Miz. Miz was coming into the match with an injured shoulder that Cesaro had injured on the previous episode of Monday Night Raw. So Cesaro, he had his arm taped, his shoulder taped, his left shoulder taped, which apparently Miz is a left hand. He punches with his left hand. I didn't know that. So good, you learn new things every day, I guess. But the match itself was pretty average. Cesaro worked over the arm of Miz, and it was going along just okay, and then the finish came, and it was a bit of a weird finish. Miz went for the figure 4 leg lock, and Cesaro basically kicked Miz's knee, and Miz ended up kneeing Cesaro in the balls, so Cesaro kind of sacrificed his own balls for a DQ win to get the win. Pretty weird, and also very weird considering that it does lead to another match between the two, but that happens on SmackDown, I think, in a 2 out of 3 falls match, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty weird finish to a pretty average matchup. But Cesaro wins by DQ and retains the United States Championship, and then Miz kicks him in the balls after the match for good shake. So, not a good night to be Cesaro's balls, if I say so myself. Next match, we have the Elimination Chamber, the only Elimination Chamber of the night. We have the #1 contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship. The winner will face Alberto Del Rio for the World Championship at WrestleMania 29. So we have Kane, Daniel Bryan, Mark Henry, Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, and the returning Jack Swagger. So I wonder who's winning this one. All kidding aside, this was a pretty decent chamber. It started out it was a match of two halves, in my opinion. It started out pretty average, with Jericho and Bryan started out, which was pretty cool to see, but they didn't really do anything, which was very surprising. And, it didn't really pick up until the 5th person came out of the pod, and that was Randy Orton. When Randy Orton came in, it was really good stuff, and then from there, Mark Henry came in last, and Mark Henry was built and designed for the Elimination Chamber. The torture and the punishment that Mark Henry puts his opponents through. He looked like King Kong, a caged animal, and it was pretty fucking cool to see. Unfortunately, Mark Henry didn't win this. Unfortunately, I really wanted Mark Henry to win this. I knew going in he wasn't going to win it, but he kind of made me sad when he didn't win it, because I was hoping he would. He made me believe that he would, even though I already know he didn't. So pretty fun stuff. Mark Henry got eliminated when they all ganged up on him. Jack Swagger, Chris Jericho, and Randy Orton. Good sequence towards the end between Randy Orton and Chris Jericho, but of course it would be the all-American, the real American Jack Swagger, who had just debuted alongside Zeb Coulter in the Real American gimmick at this point, so you kind of knew Jack Swagger was winning this. Very solid matchup, very solid. The second half of the Elimination Chamber was very solid. First half was very average, pretty decent chamber. and Jack Swagger goes on to WrestleMania to face Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I kind of get where they were going, you know, the American versus the Mexican for the World Heavyweight Championship. I get where they were going, especially where Zeb Coulter wanted to deport the people, sneaking across the borders, all that kind of shit. So it was what it was. Anyway, let's move on to the next matchup. We have the Shield of Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins making their second pay-per-view match. Their second match on pay-per-view as they take on the team of John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus. This is my match of the night. Definitely awesome stuff right here. The Shield were awesome, man. Was very surprised. Another surprising victory right here. I was actually expecting John Cena and Sheamus and Ryback to win. If I would have, if I would have done predictions for this back in 2013, I probably would have gone for Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus, considering that Cena is going to face the winner of the cover, the two people on the cover right there at WrestleMania. I would have predicted Cena's team to win because of Cena going on the WrestleMania face The Rock or CM Punk at WrestleMania. So, very surprising that the Shield went over here, but I think it was the right result because it made the Shield look dominant and good. And I didn't think it killed anyone because Ryback was about to turn heel after WrestleMania anyway, so and go after Cena. So good stuff right there. I think it set up it did its purpose, and it was a really solid matchup, really fantastic matchup. Really enjoyed it, and it was my match of the night. So let's move on to the next matchup. We had a Dolph Ziggler promo, basically moaning about the fact that he's not on the pay-per-view. Not booked for the pay-per-view, so he kind of did a in-ring segment, and then Booker T came out, and it kind of felt like a TV smack. It kind of felt like a SmackDown segment where the person complains about not being booked, and then the general manager comes out and books them in a match. Anyway, Dolph Ziggler faces Kofi. Went about 5 minutes, and Dolph Ziggler picks up the win, but it was just there to put over the amazing bigness of Big E, who would flatten his future New Day mate at the end of this, after Kofi accidentally hit a couple of splashes off the top rope, over the top rope, onto the outside, but Big E would basically be the landing that Kofi would thingy. So Big E would flatten Kofi after the match, but it didn't really do much. Could have been saved for TV, a bit of filler, and it was what it was. Dolph gets the win, and we move on to the next matchup, which was another felt like filler match. Tamina taking on Caitlyn for the Divas Championship. Caitlyn is, of course, the champion. Tamina is the challenger. So the second Elimination Chamber in a row, Tamina is the challenger for the Divas Championship. This one wasn't as good as the Beth Phoenix one, just in my opinion. It was the match before the main event, so they were in a tough spot. But the crowd didn't really care about it, and it just kind of pulled the match down a little bit. It pulled the match down when you can just see people in the front row, with their arms folded, kind of like, okay, let's get this over with so we can get to the good stuff. Which I feel bad for. It was the way of its time. The Divas match, and Caitlyn would have some good rivalries with AJ Lee in the later part of 2013, but this wasn't anything to go out your way and see. So Caitlyn retained, and we move on to the main event, which was The Rock defending the WWE Championship against the former champion CM Punk. So some pretty fun stuff going into this. First off, the stipulation was if The Rock got disqualified or counted out. Oh Jesus, sorry about that. Sorry, I needed a burp. If The Rock got disqualified or counted out, he would lose the WWE Championship. But and also CM Punk would actually come out with the belt, as he stole it on Raw, because he's got it into his head that he successfully beat The Rock at the Royal Rumble, so he walked in as the WWE Champion. I have my theories of why that was, why CM Punk walked into this match with the title after stealing it from The Rock. I think that The Rock just didn't want to carry the spinner belt. I think because he ended up changing the belt the very next night, if I'm not mistaken, to the new design, which they currently have, but with the much bigger W logo. Just my theory. I think that The Rock didn't want to carry that damn spinner belt, that Cena's spinner belt. So anyway, good. The Rock versus CM Punk with all the stipulations. Punk tried to take advantage of the stipulations involved here, And I feel like it kind of brought the match down a little bit. Like I thought it had its good moments, but for the most part, it was like Punk dominating The Rock and Rock trying not to lose his temper and get disqualified, and that's what Punk was trying to make him do. But I felt like it was a bit overbooked towards the end with the ref bumps. Like they had like two or three ref bumps, and then Paul Heyman kept getting involved and end up backfiring, and The Rock would end up retaining the WWE Championship by beating CM Punk for the second time in a row to seal the main event for WrestleMania 29 on The Rock's part anyway, because CM Punk would try to get into the match by facing John Cena for the WrestleMania spot on Raw, but of course he would fail also again. So yeah, it was a pretty fun match. It wasn't it wasn't the best match I've ever seen or anything like that. I think Rock and Punk they did all right, but it wasn't the best thing I've ever seen. I've seen better matches, but it was what it was. I'm gonna give this pay-per-view, and that's it. I'm gonna give this pay-per-view a 7 out of 10. Very solid stuff. There was a couple of matches which will fill up after that Shield match with the Caitlyn and the Dolph Ziggler and the Caitlyn match with Tamina. But for the most part, very solid show, very enjoyable show. Look forward to doing some more reviews from 2013. That's going to be it now, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments. Leave me a like if you deserve it. And I'll see you guys on the next video, whenever that may be. And I'm out.